Open strings, confidence, resonance, and the first sense of intonation. Della Maré Music Continuum, a 21st century pedagogy. Before fingers arrive, the instrument already knows how to sing. Open strings are frequently treated as placeholders, sounds to be passed through quickly on the way to real notes. Within the Della Maré Music Continuum, they are understood differently. Open strings are not an absence of skill. They are the instrument speaking in its most stable and truthful voice. For early learners, this distinction matters. An open string cannot be rendered out of tune by effort or misunderstanding. Once correctly tuned, it offers something rare in the first stages of learning: certainty. The student draws the bow or plucks the string and hears a sound that is full, centered, and reliable. There is no anxiety about finger placement, no mid-gesture guesswork, no immediate need for correction. The instrument responds at once and generously. This immediate response builds confidence of a particular kind, not merely the confidence of achievement, but the deeper confidence of trust. Trust that the instrument will answer. Trust that sound is not something that must be wrested from struggle, but something already present and waiting. This is why the act of tuning at the beginning of a lesson is never a formality. It is a structural condition. When the strings are accurately tuned, the instrument becomes a living reference point. Every subsequent sound relates back to it. Tuning itself can be approached in two complementary ways. Digital tuning applications provide a clear external reference. Most reliable apps display the target pitch, commonly A, 440 Hz, though the precise standard may vary by ensemble or tradition, and indicate whether the sounding string is flat or sharp. The learner plays the open string, observes the visual feedback, and adjusts the peg or fine-tuner until the display settles on the correct pitch. Used with care, these tools offer consistency and remove guesswork, especially for beginners whose ears are still forming. They are particularly useful for establishing a shared A across a group or for confirming the first string before relative tuning begins. Yet the app remains a servant rather than a master. Once the reference pitch is secured, the ear takes precedence. Tuning to the instrument itself develops a more intimate and lasting skill. After one string has been set accurately, usually the A, the remaining strings are matched by ear and by resonance. The learner plays the tuned string and the adjacent string together, listening for the pure, settled interval, a perfect fifth on violin, viola, and cello, the corresponding intervals on the bass. When the interval is true, sympathetic vibration increases, the instrument blooms, and the beating between the two pitches disappears. Adjustments are made slowly, allowing the ear and the body of the instrument to confirm the relationship. This method trains the student to hear pure intervals directly and to trust the instrument's own resonant feedback rather than relying solely on an external device. Over time, the two approaches support each other. The digital reference establishes a reliable starting point, while relative tuning cultivates the deeper listening that will later guide intonation of stopped notes. Open strings also establish the earliest sense of intonation long before the student is asked to control pitch deliberately. When an open string is played, adjacent strings begin to resonate in sympathy and overtones bloom. The learner may not yet have language for these phenomena, yet the ear registers them at once. Certain combinations feel settled, others feel unstable. This is not theoretical knowledge, it is immediate physical feedback. When fingered notes are later introduced, they are never judged in isolation. They are heard against the open strings already known. A stopped note that aligns with the instrument's natural resonances feels right, one that does not feel unsettled. In this way, good intonation begins not as correction, but as recognition. The open strings further introduce spatial awareness of pitch. Each string occupies a clear register, so the learner experiences height and depth as lived sound rather than as abstract concepts. On the violin, the open strings are G, D, A, and E. On the viola and the cello, they are C, G, D, and A. The shared tuning allowing early ensemble familiarity and reinforcing pitch relationships across instruments without the need for explanation. On the double bass, the open strings are E, A, D, and G. For reading ease, these are customarily notated an octave higher than they sound. a practical convention that keeps the eye free of excessive ledger lines and attention focused on sound rather than decoding. Across all four instruments, open strings provide a consistent sonic ground. They allow rhythm to be explored without pitch anxiety. They make pizzicato and bowing feel immediately successful. They invite listening before effort. They teach the ear what settled sounds like long before the hand is asked to reproduce those pitches. Most importantly, they remind the learner of a truth often overlooked in early music education. The instrument is not waiting to be unlocked. It is already alive. The role of teaching, at the beginning, is not to impose control, but to help the student listen to what is already present. Across the string family, open strings form the first common language, stable, resonant, and quietly confident. Read more at iServalan.com.